Coming up on the October 27th edition of Carolina Week.
What's in store for the future of Dick Baddour? Will he be our athletics director next year? One newspaper says no.
Picking up a ballot and leaving it blank. Do students need a lesson in local elections?
So many pumpkins, so little time. Only a few days left to pick the right one.
Plus, a look at your Carolina Week 4-day forecast and your full sports report.
All that and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Amanda Eiler.
And I'm Lydia Garlikov. The UNC Athletic Department is once again combating rumors about the future of the athletics director. Ann Sexton joins us now with more.
Well, it seems that every few months something surfaces regarding the end of Dick Baddour's tenure at the helm of the athletic department. Baddour has been in the center of controversy before. Now a published report indicates that Baddour is being reassigned. The Jamestown News, the weekly newspaper in Jamestown, North Carolina, posted a story on its website Wednesday. In the story, writer Scott Klein says the paper has confirmed through sources at the university that Baddour is being moved out of the AD spot. We talked with Klein Wednesday afternoon, who told us, "If I'm confident enough to put my name on this article, I can assure you it's a valid source." Carolina Sports Information Director Steve Kirshner would not speak on the camera, saying, "I'm not going to legitimize a rumor, just saying there's nothing to it." Chancellor James Measer is out of town. He did push for Baddour's recent contract extension. Provost Robert Shelton told us late Wednesday afternoon that he knows nothing about the report.
I've heard nothing that there's any change in Dick Baddour's status. I personally have extremely high regard for him, and I would be surprised if there's any change.
Wednesday afternoon, Associate Vice Chancellor for University Relations Nancy Davis released this statement. Speculation being reported on the internet and by irresponsible news media outlets about the future of athletics director Dick Baddour is unfounded and based upon rumors. We regret that those posting and broadcasting these false reports have not demonstrated better judgment and standards. The reporter and the paper continue to stand by the story.
It's been an interesting couple of years. The Matt Doherty situation in men's basketball, the real potential for a third straight losing season in football, and recurring questions about Baddour's job security.
Interesting might be an understatement. Thanks, Ann. One of the busiest and most crowded nights of the year on Franklin Street is almost here. On Halloween, people come from throughout the Triangle area to see and be seen. And police officers come from outside the area to help keep things under control. Reporter Joe Mott is live in the studio with more. Joe?
Well, think about it, Lydia. 70,000 people in a 7-block area. Many of them perhaps a bit on the inebriated side. It's a tall order for law enforcement. Police say the estimate is based on previous year's attendance and which night the festivities are on. In this case, conservative figures because Halloween falls on a Sunday. To control the crowds like last year's Spanish bull runners, the town has organized 335 police officers from 17 different agencies across the state. That's up from last year. All of this is expected to cost the town more than the $130,000 it spent last year. The police say they don't have an accurate estimate yet. Now, part of that money goes to closing off several downtown streets. Franklin Street will be closed from Raleigh Street to Millette Street, Columbia Street from Rosemary to Cameron, Raleigh Street from East Franklin to Cameron, and many other streets will be open to residents only. Because of all the roadblocks, all vehicles should be off the streets by 3 p.m., and towing begins at 6. To get to the party for $5 round trip or $3 one way, you can ride one of 4 park and ride shuttles operating throughout the town from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Pickup locations include the Jones Ferry Road lot in Carborough, the Southern Village lot, the Friday Center, and at University Mall. Now, because there will be so much garbage to pick up the next morning, city officials have moved regular garbage collection from Monday to Wednesday. Lydia?
Joe Mott reporting from the studio. Thanks, Joe. For more information about this Sunday's festivities, the town recommends you visit its website at townofchapelhill.org.
The national election is a hot topic on college campuses this year, and Carolina is no exception. These past few weeks, students have been bombarded with political images, some supporting Senator Kerry, some in favor of President Bush, and others just encouraging students to get to the polls. According to a Harvard study, college students are more interested in politics this year, more likely to identify with a party, and more likely to vote. And who are they going to vote for? Of the 1,200 students polled, 52% say they favor Kerry, 39% say they'll vote for Bush, 8% are undecided, and 1% say they support independent candidate Ralph Nader. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 2.8 points. Researchers are expecting about half of the nation's 10 million college students to visit the polls. Most college students know who's running for president this year.
But as reporter Shayla Freeman found out, when it comes to the local elections, Carolina students aren't so savvy.
With less than a week left to vote, the polls are crowded and people are finding any spot they can to cast their ballots for either Senator Kerry or President Bush. But some of these voters have sat and wondered who to vote for among the state and local candidates. Professor Farrell Guillory agrees that voters aren't so knowledgeable on the local level.
The level of voting declines the further down the ballot you get. Almost everybody votes for the presidential candidates, and then as the candidates get less familiar, then fewer and fewer people vote. They simply just skip.
So how far down the ballot do voters get stumped? Do UNC students know who's running for governor?
Mike Easley and some other people.
I actually have no idea who's running for governor. I really wish I did.
I don't know. I only voted for president. Because I don't even know anything else about who else is running for what.
Here's a sample ballot, and as you can see, it's pretty long. With 28 people to vote for, it's important that you come pick one of these up early. Elections officials say it'll help you be prepared at the polling place. But it's certain that some people will leave the polls unsure about their voting choices.
Yeah, people guess, yeah, I may know that person. That name's kind of familiar. It's part of human reality, but we need to do better than that.
Among UNC students, there's definitely room for improvement. In Chapel Hill, I'm Shayla Freeman, Carolina Week.
There are only a few days left to figure out who to vote for to fill important North Carolina offices.
You can bet the members of these two groups know who they're going to vote for. The college Republicans and Young Democrats held their final debate of the election season Monday night. UNC professor Ralph Burns talked about national affairs. Duke professor Peter Fever debated UNC professor Tim McEwen about foreign policy.
You can see what President Bush has actually done in the war on terror, and he's done a number of things very well. In fact, I would say that the strongest argument for re-electing Bush is his record on the war on terror.
There are people making foreign policy decisions in this administration that are just plain scary.
There are still several days left to vote early before Election Day next Tuesday. A bill that would define negative campaigning during student elections is indefinitely on the table. Tuesday night, Student Congress voted 11-9 to override Student Body President Matt Calabria's veto of the bill, but that's short of the needed 2/3 majority.
Student government is playing musical chairs with its cabinet positions as a new student body secretary takes office. This empty seat wasn't empty long, as Student Body President Matt Calabria appointed an assistant to fill the vacancy. He says members leave for personal reasons or because of the time commitment. Calabria predicts more vacancies are on the way.
Those who are running for student body president or who work on campaigns generally resign from their positions in student government.
In the coming weeks, new CAA President Lindsay Strunk will fill the vacancy created when she moved up from vice president.
The results of several campus votes are in. Students logged on to Student Central Tuesday and voted for Homecoming King and Queen, senior class gift, and a referendum to give stipends to top leaders of Student Congress. The vote on the referendum ended with nearly 2,500 students voting against the stipends and more than 1,000 voting to incorporate the stipends into the student code. The names of the new Homecoming King and Queen will be announced at the homecoming football game. The senior class has chosen the 9/11 Memorial Garden to leave as its legacy. The garden will be located on North Campus as a place for student reflection and an alternative teaching setting. It will be similar to the Wellstone Memorial Garden near Murphy Hall. There will be 6 benches commemorating the 6 UNC alumni who were killed in the terrorist attacks.
Want to save big on your spring break travels? You'd better act fast.
What you need to do, coming up.
Hello. Yes. Can I ask a few questions about the apartment on Park Street?
What was your name?
My name is Juan Hernandez.
It's been rented.
Oh, he's gone. Hello, my name is Sanjay Kumar. I am calling about the apartment on Park Street.
It's not available.
Not available?
Hello, my name is Tyrone Washington. I'm calling about the apartment on Park Street.
Just been rented.
Hello, I am Chen Lin.
My name is Khalid bin Ali.
I'm Tuan Vo.
Hello, my name is Moshe Goldberg. I use a wheelchair.
He's gone. Not available. All right. Thank you.
Yes, hello, my name is Graham Wellington. I'm calling about the apartment for rent on Park Street. Is that still available?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Really?
Housing discrimination is illegal. If you think you've been a victim because of your race, color, national origin, sex, religion, disability, or family status, call us. Fair housing. It's not an option. It's the law.
It's still months away, but some students already have spring break on their minds. Students have been stopping by STA Travel all week to find out about spring break deals. You can pick up a copy of Break magazine on Franklin Street to get some travel ideas. STA manager Cassandra Chambers says if you want a deal, book your trip as soon as possible.
Important to go ahead and book early to be able to get the best prices and the best choices.
Booking before December will save you about $50. STA Travel will give away a trip to Europe at Wednesday night's homecoming dinner.
Improvements to the Chapel Hill Cemetery are finally finished, but if you're not paying attention, you might walk right by the cemetery's newest addition. A sign designating the western end of the cemetery as the African American section now stands on the corner of South Road and Winston Dorm. Not much has changed inside the cemetery. The slabs of rock used to mark the gravesites hundreds of years ago are still there, but the sign gives African Americans credit for helping to make the university what it is today.
The Family Violence Prevention Center recognizes each October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And although the end of the month is near, the celebrations are just beginning.
Domestic violence has to go, hey, hey, ho, ho.
Dozens of folks marched, held homemade signs, and danced to support Family Peace Tuesday on Franklin Street. Mannequins dressed as women sported signs that offered factoids about domestic violence, and some women gave personal testimonies. Event organizer Melissa Radcliffe hopes people who endure domestic violence are aware there are outlets for help.
For folks who are in a domestic violence situation who may think that they're very alone, that no one else is experiencing this, we know that isolation is a tactic that abusers use all the time, that one of the things that we're doing this month is to continue to send the message that we exist, that there are people available.
This year marks the third time folks have marched for the cause. The center will also host an auction on Thursday.
Some Chapel Hill parents are making sure the problem of underage drinking isn't overlooked. The Committee for Alcohol and Drug-Free Teenagers held its third town meeting Tuesday night. Though the committee already received a preliminary response to a petition it filed with the Chapel Hill Town Council, it plans to file another petition soon. Chapel Hill Chief of Police Greg Jarvie says everyone has a role in addressing the problem.
The police, the schools, the citizens are all part of the solution, but it ultimately comes down to the parents. The parents need to know what their kids are doing. They need to be able to communicate with their kids.
A reformed committee on is planning to meet again on November 18th. Well, weathercaster Rob Ellis joins us now.
Rob, even though it's almost November, it's been so nice outside.
Well, I think we just have good karma because it seems every time we're all three here together, I'm talking about good weather, and today is no different. I'll let you know what to expect for your homecoming weekend, whether Halloween is going to be a trick or a treat, and I'll have your Election Day forecast when Carolina Week continues.
Can I help you, sir?
Found these over by the stairs.
Okay, thank you.
What are they?
Love handles. Lots of people lose them taking the stairs instead of the escalator.
Years ago, Lewis and Clark set out to discover an all-water route to the Pacific. But what they really discovered were 58 hospitable nations who could have ended their journey at any time, but saved it instead. As we commemorate their bicentennial, we invite you to walk with them at lewisandclark200.org and see what you discover, because their trail winds through us all.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm weathercaster Rob Ellis. We've got a lot to talk about. Many people have a big weekend plan, so let's get right to our weather headlines. Starting out, we're going to have some weekend clearing. We're going to get rid of those clouds that we've seen this week, and as we move through the weekend, a high pressure is going to build, and that's going to bring us some clearing. It is that time of year again. We sprang forward and lost that hour earlier in the year, and now it's time to get it back. So it's time to move those clocks back Saturday morning. So you'll get that extra hour of sleep if you have big Halloween plans. And are we going to see Halloween? Is it going to be a trick or a treat? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the satellite map and see what's going on. You can see we have a high pressure system that's down here. It's providing a lot of clearing for the Gulf of Mexico, but it is bringing up some moisture that's associated with the Gulf moisture. It's going to be moving into our area. You can see that cloudiness that's been in our area for quite some time. We think that's going to move out of the way. Take a look out west at this very large system that moved in through California earlier in the week. It brought LA some very heavy rainfall, which is very unusual for this time of year, and also brought some snowfall into the Utah mountains. Let's go ahead and take a look at the surface map. Here you can see that frontal boundary system that we saw associated with our Gulf moisture that's moving up. There's a high pressure system that will be building here as we move through the weekend, and that's what's going to bring us that clearing. Just as a footnote, we do have a total lunar eclipse that is going to be occurring Wednesday evening at about 11 o'clock. So if you happen to look up and see the moon doing funny things, your eyes aren't playing a trick on you. You're in for an astronomical treat. It is a total lunar eclipse. So if you get a chance, check that out. Let's go ahead and look at the 4-day forecast. Starting out the weekend, it's going to be, well, that's not what I wanted to talk about right now, but we'll go ahead and talk about our Election Day forecast. If you're voting for clear weather, it will be a winner that you've picked, and you can see partly cloudy conditions and high of 72, low overnight of 54 degrees. Moving into our, I hope it's the 4-day forecast that we're going to be coming up to. Oh, wonderful. Friday, we're going to start out cloudy at 66 degrees, but as we move into that weekend, we're going to see some clearing occur. Highs in the the middle 70s, but we may get a chance to do some upper 70s, mid 70s there is what we're looking for. Overnight lows are going to be around the mid 50s. It's going to be those cool, crisp nights that we've been seeing over the past few weeks. And as we move into Monday, you'll see the same conditions with a high of 75. If you're moving out to the beach, maybe you're heading down to Wilmington or the Outer Banks, it's going to be a really nice one. Temperatures in the upper 70s, very nice. But if you're heading the other direction, if you're going out west to the mountains, you're in for some showers all throughout the weekend. You can see high temperatures, though, about 75, so very mild. Lows overnight are going to be also mild as well, 56 and 57 on Sunday. If you're heading out to the game this weekend, kickoff is at 7 p.m. It's going to start out about 63 degrees. It will be partly cloudy, but as we move through the evening, because it is a night game, it's going to get cooler and cooler, so maybe pack a sweater supporting your favorite team.
I was going to say, word of the wise, bring something warm.
Absolutely.
At least it won't be raining. That's
no,
good.
It's going to be nice.
That's true. Thanks, Rob.
Ann Sexton joins us now with sports. And the weather's always good for those inside sports.
That's for sure. I'm really excited about the outdoor sports and indoor sports this weekend. Miami looks to be a foe for us to tackle, but we'll see how the football team does. And yes, you're right about those inside sports. So coming up on Carolina Week Sports, hope, despair, fortune, and flounder. Will Carolina Week Sports bring you the inside scoop about tournament poker? Oh, you can bet on it.
Like I said earlier, if they want to win this game,
Come on.
And it's a block.
What kind of kick was that? You've got to be kidding me!
Hey, hot shot. Sounds like you know a lot about the game.
You should put that to use. Come on, let's go take a jog.
There are plenty of ways that you can volunteer in your community.
Just figure out what you like to do and pass it on to others.
And you know what? You can have a lot of fun doing it, too.
Pick those knees up. Keep going. Pick those legs up. Let's go. All right now, show them how to kick that ball.
To find out ways you can volunteer in your community, log on to teensvolunteer.org.
Okay, Ben, here we go, buddy. That was great, Ben. This time, just try to kick the ball.
Do what you like to do. Volunteer.
Welcome back to Carolina Week Sports, where Michael Jordan is a hero and Dean Smith is a living legend. I'm your humble sports anchor, Ann Sexton. It's been one of the most active hurricane seasons in recent memory, and this weekend, homecoming, another hurricane will head north toward Chapel Hill. That hurricane is in the form of 4th-ranked Miami Hurricanes football team. So we thought we'd compare it to another strong hurricane, Hurricane Charlie. Charlie was a powerful Category 4 hurricane, and Miami is ranked 4th in the latest AP poll. Charlie topped out with winds at 145 miles per hour, while Miami has 6 winds and counting, doing massive damage to top ACC teams like Florida State and NC State. Charlie devastated Florida, causing $15 billion in damage once it made landfall this August. Landfall for the Miami Hurricanes in Kenan Stadium is set for Saturday at 7 p.m. And Coach John Bunting knows his team will have to play flawless football to avoid this hurricane's wrath.
What I like is that we've had 2 ACC wins, and the teams who have lost to are 24-3, if you do the math. What I'd like to see us do is get better.
The opposite could be said of the women's soccer team. Thursday's opponent, Duke, will also have to play near perfect to upset the second-ranked Heels. In fact, the Blue Devils have never won a game against Carolina. But that doesn't mean the Lady Tar Heels should take it lying down. Goalkeeper Allie Wingett and Carolina's defense are going to have to be on the ball because Duke's Casey McCluskey is second in the ACC in goals per game, 1 spot better than UNC standout Heather O'Reilly. Plus, with the Carlisle Cup point up for grabs, anything's possible. You think you have what it takes to go all in with cards the Salvation Army wouldn't accept? Do you really think that you can sit at the same table as the poker pros on TV? As sports reporter John Leggett found out, you might want to think again.
I think it's just the television coverage that started it. I've been in poker for a long time, but the World Poker Tour, I don't know if you heard about it.
Heard of it? How could you miss it? Televised poker coverage is on 4 different channels at any one time. So to see what all the fuss was about, fellow sports reporter Wes Wilson and I decided to enter a free local tournament on Franklin Street. Now there's a saying in the poker world that goes like this: if you don't spot the sucker at the table in the first 30 minutes, you're the sucker. And the suckers bring out the sharks. Sharks like James Jong, who looks at poker like most people look at chess.
I think it's just a strategy for me. Like it's fun to sit down with some friends and have a good time. At the same time, you can play it's actually a very intellectual game.
Strategy? I thought it was just about getting good cards. Looks like I might be in over my head. But for some, like Ryan Pascal, the reasons to play are much simpler.
I don't know, it's just addictive. There's a lot of excitement, adrenaline rush. I don't know, a chance to win some money if you're not playing here.
It's a good thing we aren't playing for money. I haven't won anything all night. While Wes, on the other hand...
I was just getting lucky, man. I haven't seen 4 of a kind ever since I've been playing.
And with cards like these, that win you pots like this, it's hard to lose. Wes obviously had enough chips to stick around for a long time. My official time at the table, only 29 minutes. Down and out in Chapel Hill, I'm John Leggett, Carolina Week Sports.
For more information about where to play poker for free in Chapel Hill, visit ncpokerleague.com. And speaking of bad beats, the Davidson Wildcats came to Carmichael Tuesday night and noticed something was different about the Tar Heel volleyball team. Was the net higher? Was the court wider? Maybe those Tar Heels are just a little bit taller. Danny Nienhuis unloads early. She'll score 10 kills in game 1. Davidson tries to return the favor, but that's not a tennis net. Maybe the Wildcats should recruit some bigger players. Are you ready for a montage? Emily Gary and Christy Clark own the court all night as the Tar Heels won in 3 games, dominating a smaller Davidson team. Gary knows that she has a physical advantage and is learning how to use it.
It's pretty easy when you're really tall because with that comes really long arms, but I'm trying to work on my timing and everything too. So it's just throwing my long arms up there in time will get me good results.
Carolina plays another non-conference match against an in-state rival on Friday, Duke. This matchup doesn't count in ACC play, but adds another half a point to the Carlisle Cup race. Well, ladies, there's a lot of action against Duke this weekend, and you better be wearing the right color blue.
I think I'm just going to stick with Carolina blue the entire weekend. You know, we've got Miami, we've got all these different teams, and I just get all the colors confused. So we'll just stick with Carolina blue.
I don't want to go with that orange or green. Definitely not.
Not a good color.
Wrong choice. Thanks, Ann. Charlie Brown isn't the only one looking for the great pumpkin. Offspring from the area are out to find their own outstanding orange orbs.
Come on, boy. Come on.
What do you got there, Yogi? Huh? What do you found? What do you got, little fella? Drop it. Looks like someone's butt. Man, they probably lost it playing with their kids. Hey, leave it. Come on. Come on.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Listen to smoke before you give it a try. Only you. Don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. Cause there's nothing very funny about rigged off money. Nothing very nice on a homeless mind. So if a gorgeous force is what you desire, don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. Yeah.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Fire.
Goblins and ghouls are gearing up for the big Halloween festivities this Sunday at a busy Chapel Hill thrift store. Time after time on West Franklin Street is filled with shoppers searching for the perfect Halloween costume. Shoppers try on suits, sort through masks, and search the racks for clothes and sometimes for ideas. UNC grad student Casey Mutima says even though time after time had some parts of his Jimi Hendrix costume, he's still missing some important accessories.
Got the vintage jackets, get some bell bottoms when I get home, hopefully some shoes to match. And if I can get a fro, that'd be great. And I got some glasses as well.
Even though Mutima couldn't find a wig that was the right size, he still spent $15. According to a survey by the National Retail Federation, the average Halloween shopper will spend about that amount, about $15, on a costume this year. Well, a costume isn't the only thing you need for Halloween.
Reporter Courtney Robinson tells us picking the perfect pumpkin from the patch is positively a priority.
Pumpkin, where's the pumpkin?
5-year-old Lindsay Kirby hasn't lost anything.
I need a big one.
A big one? She's on a mission to find her perfect pumpkin.
I want it to look like round, I want it to be orange, and want it to be the biggest one.
Like so many other children, Lindsay and her mother like to visit Ganyard Hill Farm's pumpkin patch, a pumpkin lover's paradise.
This is a big treat to come out to a farm and hunt for pumpkins and do all the other activities they have out here.
The owner of the farm, Milton Ganyard, says every pumpkin is some kind of perfection.
You know, it's just in the eye of the beholder. It's whatever that person likes when they look, you know.
But for Lindsay, finding the great pumpkin isn't an easy process. Could it be this pumpkin?
Too green.
Or this one?
He's got potential, he's just a little dirty.
After narrowing her selection down to 3, she does the only thing there is to do. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Is that it?
Yes.
Oh, that's it.
And now that our pumpkin hunter's mission has been accomplished, what will she do?
I'm going to bring it home and I'm going to carve it.
She's found perfection and leaves the farm a satisfied customer. In Durham, I'm Courtney Robinson, Carolina Week.
Now, I have to tell you that I was out at Ganyard Farm with Courtney, and I also managed to find my perfect pumpkin, as did Courtney.
Well, fabulous.
So it's a great place to go. There's a lot going on this weekend between Halloween and the game. So are you excited about Halloween?
I am very excited, and the weather looks fabulous for everyone. So it should be a good weekend overall, as long as we top Miami.
I definitely agree, and it will be hard, but I think we can do it. I have the faith.
That's right.
That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Have a good night.